Heartland fans. Something big is coming. The ranch is about to face a storm unlike any before, and it's not just the weather. In Season 19, Episode 3, Jack Bartlett's quiet life is shattered when a man walks up the long dirt road to Heartland, claiming to be someone Jack buried long ago, a man everyone thought was dead, a man who shares his blood. This episode doesn't just bring surprise, it opens old wounds, hidden secrets, and a ghost from Jack's past who might not be a ghost at all. The episode begins with a peaceful morning at Heartland. The sun rises over the hills, painting the fields gold. Horses graze quietly in the distance, and Jack stands by the fence, his hat low, sipping coffee. It's the kind of morning that makes you forget pain, the kind that makes you think everything's right in the world. But something in Jack's eyes tells a different story. There's a heaviness there, a weight that never really left him. Inside the house, Amy talks to Lisa about an old photo she found, two young men, standing side by side, smiling at the ranch. One is clearly Jack, the other a man who looks just like him but younger, full of wild energy. Lisa's face changes when she sees it. "That's Lyndon," she says softly. Jack's brother. Amy is surprised she's heard Jack talk about his father, his grandfather, even the early days of the ranch, but never about a brother. Lisa shakes her head. He doesn't like to talk about him. It's complicated. Meanwhile, Jack finishes feeding the horses, but his attention drifts to the old barn, the one that's been closed for years. Something about it pulls at him. The door creaks in the wind, and for a moment he sees a shadow move inside. He freezes, his breath catching, but when he looks again, nothing. Just dust, light, and memory. Later that day, Amy tells him about the photo. Jack's hands stop moving. The color drains from his face. "Where did you find that?" he asks quietly. Amy tells him it was tucked behind a drawer in the study. Jack nods slowly, staring into the distance. "Some things are better left buried," he mutters, but his voice trembles. That night, the wind howls across Heartland. The horses are restless, and a storm builds in the distance. Lightning flashes, and through the rain, a figure appears at the gate. A tall man in a dark coat, his face hidden by shadow. The camera zooms in on Jack, who steps onto the porch, eyes narrowing as thunder rolls. The man takes a few steps forward. "Jack." He calls out, the voice hoarse but familiar. Jack's cup falls from his hand, shattering on the porch. He whispers one word, "Lyndon." The screen fades to black as the storm breaks open. The storm passes, but its shadow lingers. Morning comes to Heartland covered in mist, the ranch quiet except for the soft drip of rain from the eaves. Jack hasn't slept. He sits at the kitchen table, staring at the photo Amy found, two brothers frozen in time. Long before the years and pain changed everything. His hands tremble slightly as he turns it over. Reading the faded writing on the back, "Me and Lyndon, 1967 Heartland Ranch." Lisa walks in quietly, a cup of coffee in her hands. She doesn't say anything at first. She just sits beside him. "You saw him last night, didn't you?" she finally whispers. Jack's jaw tightens. "I don't know what I saw," he says. "Could have been a dream. Could have been a ghost, but it felt real. Too real." As the narration deepens, we fade into a flashback. Young Jack and Lyndon as boys. Racing horses across the open fields, laughter echoing through the valley. They were inseparable, once partners in everything, until something happened that tore them apart. Viewers see glimpses of an old argument, a shouting match in the barn, then silence. The next moment, a newspaper headline flashes briefly. "Local man presumed dead after mining accident." The name below it, Lyndon Bartlett, back in the present. Amy listens from the doorway, her face full of questions. She's never seen her grandfather this shaken. "If he's really alive," she says softly, "why come back now?" Jack doesn't answer. He just stares out the window where the storm clouds still hang low over the hills. "Because some ghosts don't want peace," he mutters. "They want answers." Tim arrives later that morning, tracking muddy footprints through the kitchen. "You're not going to believe this," he says. "Someone was seen at the diner last night asking for you. Said his name was Lyndon Bartlett." Jack's head snaps up. The camera catches the look: shock, confusion, and something else. Fear. Amy, Lisa, and Tim exchange glances. None of them know what to say. The silence in the room grows thick until Jack finally stands. "If he's really back," he says, his voice low but steady, "then it means everything I thought I knew was a lie." Cut to a wide shot of Heartland Ranch fog rolling across the fields, the sound of a distant crow echoing through the valley. The past isn't done with Jack. It's coming home step by step, and this time there's no escaping it. The day drags on, heavy with questions. Heartland feels different now, quieter, colder, as if the ranch itself knows something is wrong. The horses are restless, pacing their stalls. The dogs bark at nothing. Even the wind seems to whisper a name that hasn't been spoken in decades. Lyndon. Jack moves through the barn slowly, every creak of the floorboards echoing like footsteps from the past. He stops at an old trunk covered in dust. Inside are fragments of a life he buried long ago: a worn saddle with the initials LB, silver watch that once belonged to his brother, and a letter he never opened. His eyes harden as he holds the watch. Its tick faint but alive. "You never were supposed to come back," he murmurs. Outside, the sound of an engine breaks the silence. A pickup truck pulls up the dirt road, its tires crunching against gravel. Jack freezes. Through the window, he sees a tall figure step out. Broad shoulders, gray hair under a dark hat, a limp in his stride. The camera lingers on Jack's expression: disbelief, fear, hope, anger, all colliding at once. The man walks toward the porch. Rain begins to fall again, soft but steady, tapping against the wood. Jack steps outside, every movement slow and heavy. The two men stop a few feet apart, staring at each other. For a long moment, neither speaks. The world seems to stop. Finally, the stranger lifts his head. His voice is low, rough, but familiar. "You've aged, Jack." Doc's eyes narrow. "And you're supposed to be dead." Lyndon lets out a tired laugh, one that doesn't sound joyful at all. "Yeah, I've been told that before." Amy watches from the barn doorway, frozen. Lisa stands beside her, covering her mouth in shock. The camera cuts between their faces, pure disbelief, and then back to the brothers. The tension thick as thunder in the distance. Jack takes a slow step forward. "If this is some kind of sick joke, it ends now." Lyndon shakes his head. "I wish it was, brother. I've been gone a long time. It's too long. But I didn't die in that mine. Someone wanted me gone, and they almost got what they wanted." The words hit like a hammer. Jack's expression changes, anger fading into confusion, then dread. The storm picks up, lightning splitting the sky. Lyndon's voice softens. "I came back because the truth's still buried here, Jack, and it's time someone dug it up." The screen cuts to black. A low heartbeat sound fades in as the Heartland Ranch glows faintly under the lightning. The voiceover whispers, "Some secrets don't stay buried forever, and some ghosts walk back home." Night falls over Heartland again, and with it comes a silence so heavy it feels alive. The rain has stopped, but thunder still rolls in the distance like an echo of what's to come. Inside the barn, a single lantern burns, casting soft, trembling light across the wooden beams. Jack and Lyndon sit opposite each other, the air between them thick with years of words unsaid. Jack's face is stone, but his eyes flicker, not with anger this time, but with hurt. He leans forward, elbows on his knees. "You owe me the truth," he says quietly. "I buried you in my heart 40 years ago. You don't just show up at my door without explaining why." Lyndon exhales slowly, his voice rough from years of silence. "I didn't want to stay gone, Jack. I didn't choose it." That mind collapse. "It wasn't an accident." Jack frowns, confusion flashing in his eyes. "What are you saying?" Lyndon looks down at his hands, the lantern's glow catching the deep scars across his knuckles. "There were people who wanted me out of the way. I found something I shouldn't have, something about Dad's land deal before he passed. I thought it was just paperwork, but it was more than that. It was about Heartland." The camera pans to Jack's face, disbelief turning to shock. "Our father's land deal? That was decades ago. It nearly cost us the ranch, Lyndon nods. Because it wasn't just land. There was money, dirty money, hidden under Heartland's name. I tried to tell the truth, and someone made sure I disappeared before I could. The wind outside begins to pick up again, the barn doors creaking. Amy, standing just outside, catches every word. Her face tightens, the realization that Heartland's history isn't as pure as she grew up believing. Jack's voice breaks through the tension. You think I'd believe that after all these years? That someone tried to kill you and no one noticed? Lyndon's eyes lift, sharp and certain. You noticed, Jack? He just couldn't admit it. For a long moment, neither moves. Then Jack stands, his shadow stretching tall across the barn floor. You come back here, throwing ghosts and lies in my face, and expect me to forget what you did before that accident. Lyndon stands too, the brothers now eye to eye. You mean the truth you buried with me? Lightning flashes, cutting the scene in white. The storm outside mirrors the storm inside, raw, emotional, unstoppable. The storm may have passed, but Heartland doesn't feel the same anymore. The air is heavy too, still too quiet. It's as if the ranch itself is holding its breath. Jack and Lyndon's argument echoes through the house long after it ends, leaving everyone shaken. Amy can't stop thinking about what she overheard. The idea that Heartland, the place built on honesty, love, and second chances, might be standing on secrets. She sits in the loft that night, the old photo of Jack and Lyndon in her hands. The same smile, the same eyes. But what happened between them to turn brother against brother? As rain taps lightly against the window, Amy opens the drawer where she found the photo. Hidden beneath the loose papers is something else, an envelope sealed with red wax. Her fingers hesitate before opening it. Inside, she finds an old letter, yellowed and creased, written in shaky handwriting. The words make her heart pound. If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. Tell Jack the land isn't what he thinks it is. Tell him to look under the old mill. Why? Gasps softly. The letter isn't just old, it's a warning. A message from Lyndon before he vanished. Cut to Amy riding out early the next morning. The fog is thick, the sky gray. She rides Spartan toward the abandoned mill, a place long forgotten, half swallowed by weeds and rust. The sound of her horse's hooves echoes against the silence. Inside the mill, beams of light filter through broken boards. Amy dismounts, her footsteps echoing on the old wood. She finds an old chest covered with dust and chains. When she forces it open, the camera zooms in. Inside are papers, maps, and a faded photograph of her great-grandfather standing with two strangers. On the back of the photo, Heartland Mining Contract, 1967. Amy's eyes widen. The same year Lyndon died, she flips through the documents. One page catches her attention, a deed showing Heartland's ownership of land connected to the mining company. And at the bottom, a signature that chills her. Jack Bartlett. The screen cuts sharply to Amy's shocked face. The narration deepens. The truth she found could destroy everything the Bartlett family built and tear Heartland apart. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Jack sits alone on the porch, staring at the horizon. Lyndon stands a few yards away, silent. Both men know the storm isn't over, it's only begun. Lightning flashes again, though the sky is clear. The voiceover whispers, "When you dig up the past, be ready for what comes with it." The section ends with Amy holding the letter close to her chest. Her face lit by the soft morning light, a mix of fear and determination. The morning sun creeps over Heartland, but the light feels colder than ever. Amy rides back to the ranch, her heart racing faster than Spartan's gallop. The letter in her pocket feels heavier with every stride. It's not just paper, it's proof that the past still has a pulse. She finds Jack in the barn, mending a broken fence rail as if fixing something small could stop everything else from falling apart. "Grandpa," she says softly, her voice trembling, "we need to talk." Jack looks up, his face weary, the kind of tired that doesn't come from work. It comes from carrying secrets too long. Amy takes out the letter, placing it in his hands. "I found this. Lyndon wrote it before the accident. The silence that follows feels endless. Jack unfolds the letter with shaking fingers. His eyes scan the words slowly, and as he reads, its expression changes: confusion first, then pain, then something close to regret. Amy steps closer. What does he mean about the land? About the old mill? Jack's voice is low. It's something I hoped you'd never have to know. He looks out the barn door, eyes distant. When our father died, the ranch was drowning in debt. Lyndon found a deal, said it would save Heartland. I signed the papers without reading the fine print. I was young, desperate. I didn't realize we were selling more than land. Amy's brow furrows. What do you mean? Jack turns to face her, his eyes wet. The deal wasn't clean. It was tied to mining rights. They used Heartland's name to hide something illegal. When Lyndon tried to expose it, he disappeared. The words hit Amy like a storm. She stumbles back, whispering, "So you thought he was dead? Because of you?" Jack nods slowly, the truth cutting deeper than any wound. I blamed myself every day. I thought keeping it buried would protect the family. But I was wrong. Secrets don't protect. They poison. Amy's eyes fill with tears. You've built this ranch on a lie. Jack's voice cracks. I built it trying to make it right. Outside, thunder rumbles. Even though the sky is clear, nature itself seems to react to the truth. Lyndon appears at the barn door, his face shadowed. He's telling the truth, he says quietly. But it's not over. The people who buried that deal, they're still out there. Amy turns to Lyndon. What are you talking about? Lyndon steps closer, holding up an old photograph, the same one Amy found in the mill, but now the camera zooms in. Behind their great-grandfather, a young man stands wearing a familiar hat, one that looks exactly like Tim's. The narration drops to a whisper. Oh, the past isn't just Jack's burden anymore. It's everyone's. Amy's eyes widen. The truth isn't just about land or lies, it's about legacy, and how deep betrayal runs through family roots. The section ends on a slow zoom of Jack's face, broken but unflinching, as he whispers, Heartland's past just came back to finish what it started. Thunder crashes. Cut to black. The sky burns orange as the sun dips behind the hills. Heartland glows in the fading light, calm on the surface, but inside, the storm is far from over. The ranch that once felt like home now feels like a battlefield of truth and betrayal. Jack stands by the old windmill, staring at the ground as if he could still see the ghosts buried beneath it. Lyndon stands a few feet away, the distance between them filled with 40 years of silence. Amy and Tim approach slowly. The letter, the photograph, and the truth. All of it has shattered what they thought they knew. Amy's voice trembles. If everything you're saying is true, then someone out there still owns a piece of Heartland. And they've been waiting for this moment. Right. Lyndon nods. They never stopped watching, Amy. The mining company changed its name, but their deal still stands. Someone wants Heartland back, and they'll do anything to get it. Jack clenches his fists. Over my dead body. Lyndon looks at him with quiet sorrow. That's what they said last time. The air thickens. A pickup truck drives up the road, headlights cutting through the dusk. The sound of tires on gravel echoes across the valley. Everyone turns, the moment feels slow, heavy. The truck stops at the gate. A figure steps out, dressed in black, carrying an old folder under one arm. Tim narrows his eyes. Who's that? Lyndon's face hardens. The man who made me disappear? The camera zooms in on the stranger's face, cold, familiar, someone connected to the Bartlett past. He walks toward them, unbothered by the tension in the air. Evening, he says, with a calm smile. I believe we have unfinished business. Jack steps forward, protective, his voice rough. You're trespassing. The man chuckles softly. I'm reclaiming what was never yours. He drops the folder at Jack's feet. Inside are legal papers stamped with fresh ink, ownership documents for part of Heartland land. The signature at the bottom makes Amy's stomach drop. It's dated 2 weeks ago. Lyndon grabs the papers, his face pale. They've already started the process. Jack stares at the man, fury rising. You think you can take this ranch from my family again? The stranger smirks. It's not about taking Mr. Bartlett. It's about finishing what your brother couldn't. Lightning flashes across the darkening sky. Even though there's no thunder, just silence and the sound of the wind pushing through the grass. Amy steps between them, her voice firm. You'll have to go through all of us first. The man looks at her with a faint smile, tipping his hat. Oh, Miss Fleming, that's exactly what I plan to do. The camera pulls back, the ranch bathed in shadow. The windmill creaking, the family standing together for the first time in years. United by the truth, but threatened by it too. Then, as the screen begins to fade, a single line of dialogue echoes softly. Jack's voice, broken yet defiant. Heartland isn't just land, it's blood. And we don't give up blood without a fight. Cut to black. The words flash across the screen in bold white. Heartland, Season 19, Episode 3, The Past Returns. The sound of a heartbeat fades in again, slow, steady, then stops.